Hi everybody, Michael again from Our Epic RV Adventure, and today we are going to be talking about water. Water is very important. We need it to survive, and most people that RV seem to have an immense fear of campground water. And it could be for various and assorted reasons. Some of it could be very well founded in reality, and some, well, maybe not. First, let's look at a couple of things. Number one, the water in a campground is either going to be safe to drink, or legally the campground has to notify you that the water is not safe to drink. Now, of course, there's a big difference between safe to drink and tastes good. Even that cloudy, dark water that may be coming out of the faucet may not look great and it may not taste great, but it still could be safe to drink. So, a couple of quick notes. Number one, as a background, I grew up on the coast of North Carolina drinking well water out of a green garden hose. So maybe my ability to drink water and not get sick is different than yours. So with that said, let's take a look at something I think can help all of us. Now, a while back in another video, we talked about a water softener and what a big difference a water softener makes, and there's going to be a link to that in the description below. But today we're going to talk about something very important that should be happening before we get to the water softener, and that's water filtration. Now, that's a big thing. I know a lot of people just prefer to bring water with them when they go camping, which for a weekender probably not that big of a deal. If you're full-time, that can be aggravating because that means you always have to go out and buy water. And even for the weekender, water is weight, so you're putting a lot of weight in your RV just so you can drink water when honestly you don't have to. A lot of people also are, big fans of things like Berkey water filters and things like that. We're not really going to talk about Berkeys right now. We don't own one, so I can't give you a comparison or anything like that on one. I will say this: I was doing some research to compare the product we're getting ready to talk to with the Berkey, and I really couldn't, because one thing Berkey does not do, and it actually says on their website that they don't do, and they tell you why, is they don't tell you what micron level they filter at. So they give a reason why, and you can take that for whatever you want. So what I'm going to talk to you today is really about water filtration for RVs that gives you safe, clean drinking water. And in my opinion, you don't need all the fancy other stuff. So I'm sure everybody's familiar with at least the blue Camco or whatever brand that you can buy at Walmart, Camping World, etc., that are like 15 bucks or so. And those are okay, but what they lack is good filtration for various and sort of reasons. So I'm going to stop right there, and I'm going to hand this over to my good friends over at Clear2o to give an explanation of why those water filters really aren't that great.
So for those people that use the blue filter, because that's a pretty common one with the
Very
RVers,
common,
and it's quick to grab when you're out and about or whatever.
Absolutely.
Why this one over the blue?
Well, again, we're solid carbon block versus granular carbon, so it's kind of an apples and oranges. Okay. When you have granular carbon, it's a good media overall, but the water has a tendency to rush past the carbon, so it doesn't have really time to interact with the carbon well enough to remove all the contaminants.
Okay.
When you have our solid carbon, the water has to penetrate the wall of the carbon, so it has to interact with the carbon, and by doing it, we can remove all those contaminants. They're called residency time, the amount of time that it flows actually through here. When that happens, actually, it strips out all those contaminants, and that's going to improve the taste, it's going to improve the water, remove everything that's causing you a problem that will actually rush through those blue filters or the white filters. So it's because we use a different technology overall.
And that is a simulation of what we would see in the blue.
And this is exactly what's in the blue and the white filters that are out there that are granular carbon.
Gotcha.
Okay? They do sometimes have an additional filter in there, but usually it's just a regular granular carbon.
Okay. So they're both carbon. It's just that one, the water is not going to get through in the same way that
all the water through it. That's
right.
Exactly right.
Okay.
So this is a new combination that we actually have. So the inline filter that we're using is actually a solid carbon block. So that's really the key difference between Clear2o and a number of the competitors. A number of the competitors are all actually granular carbon. So between the two, these are anywhere from 20 micron to all the way to 100 micron. And we actually are 1 micron, so for the entire length. So the difference is we always say this is shower quality, but we can give you drinking quality of water, actually.
Okay.
And so the need to carry bottled water with you really is now gone way down, because you can make your coffee, etc., drink the water straight from your sink.
Okay.
What we've done also is we've taken that inline filter and we've added what we call the DIRTGUARD. So now you're able to have 2 stages of filtration. A first stage being a pre-filter stage, and now a second stage being your carbon stage. And when you do that, that's going to give you much better filtration for your carbon and make your carbon filter actually last longer. So inside our pre-filter, we designed this to be able to make it with a very rigid filter. So the filter itself is very durable and very rigid, and it's meant to be clean.
Okay.
So over time, you're going to, of course, have a lot of things attaching to it. You just use a kitchen scrubber and scrub it right off, and be able to put it back in and maintain your flow rate. That's 20 microns, and that 20 microns is going to protect the carbon filter underneath. So we also designed it so it comes with a backwash adapter, so that you can actually reverse the flow and actually backwash the fish oil as well.
Okay.
So that just makes it for it's a longer lasting, and make it so that you can actually continue to use this over time. They're designed for 6 months, but it really comes down to the flow rate. So whenever you feel like it's actually flow rate is no longer making sense for you anymore, then you can just buy a replacement. Replacement's going to be $19.99, and you just replace that filter overall.
Awesome.
But no longer having to buy the new thing, you just buy the replacement filter, and the housing stays with it overall. One of the biggest problems that people don't really realize is about sediment. And sediment itself comes in, you see it, it clogs up your fixtures, it gets into your pipe. Your hot water heater as well can actually be a problem for that. So we always want to try to block all that sediment as much as possible. And when you're just using a straight in line, it's having to take on the burden of that. Instead of now, you can actually put this in and block all that sediment. And by blocking that, you protect all your fixtures and fix everything else.
Awesome. So how's it taste?
We drink straight from the water. So we make all our
Awesome.
coffee and we drink straight from the sink. We don't carry bottled water at all. So we just usually do that. And we use this setup here. It's great for weekenders. It's great for people who are short term that are using it, because it's easy to take apart, put up, store it, and then use it again. So it makes it very easy for everybody. But because we can do 1 micron, it really is a better quality of water, and it's the quality is so much that you can drink from it.
So using it in like coffee makers and things like that, you're not going to have issues. Like you don't have to buy separate jugged water for it.
No.
You can use it right away. Ooh,
and have good
me.
tasting coffee. And if you have any problems with hydrogen sulfide, like if you have rotten egg kind of smell or sulfur smell, this will remove your sulfur smell as well. So you won't have to deal with that.
That's a big deal for a lot of people.
It is. It's a common problem, actually.
Right.
And so because of the carbon in there, that we can remove all of that. And the same thing with iron taste. So there's a lot of people that have problems with iron taste.
Yes.
So we remove all that iron taste as well.
Awesome.
So give you a much better quality, a much higher quality of water.
It's a very simple product, but it certainly does seem like
it does, and
exactly
it's again
what every RVer needs.
It's how much carbon we put into it, and so obviously the more carbon, the more it's going to take out. So that's one of the key differences, is that solid carbon.
Gotcha.
We're going to take our Clear2o inline water filter, and it just screws right in there. And there we have it. We now have a 2-stage water filter. Now, what's the importance of a 2-stage water filter? If you didn't already understand it already, this first stage filters out the big stuff, which actually extends the life of this smaller, more expensive filter by 3 or 4 times what it would normally be if it was just working alone. So the pre-filter here will pay for itself pretty quickly. Now, in our Tiffin 34PA, we actually have a built-in water filter, and our residential refrigerator also has a filter. So by putting this in, we're going to actually end up with 4 filters on our RV. So that's pretty well filtered water. Even with just the 1 filter in our previous RV, we drank the water. So let's go install this good water filter here, and let's give it a taste. First thing you want to do, turn the water off. Obviously. Let out the excess pressure. Now, let's put in the Clear2o water filter system. I'm gonna go ahead and use my Y adapter. I like using it. All right, let's turn the water on. So that's it, it's installed. Now what I do here is I have this short piece here going into a Y adapter. I couldn't plug the Y adapter directly into the Clear2o because it wasn't able to get a tight seal because of the connector here. So I went ahead and just used this other short piece, running through the two-stage filter, going over here into our on-the-go water softener, and that goes through our 0G hose into the camper. Now a lot of you are asking, well, don't you have a water pressure regulator? Yes, I do, and it's right here. I put it inside back in 2019 because we had a freeze and I didn't want anything to happen to it because it is adjustable, it's got the gauge on it. So I put it in there to keep it warm, and I've just left it there. And I also have a Y adapter here so I can connect another hose too. So I have two Y adapters, one on each end. This can give me water that's filtered and softened, and the other one just gives me straight raw water. And it's on a 90-degree elbow here. So also on my black tank side here, I have another 90-degree. I also have a water flow meter and another Y adapter. Now I have the water flow meter there, so I know how much water is going into my black tank when I'm filling it up to rinse it out. Makes sense, right? So that's it. Again, it's just a water filter. It's not rocket science to install, but it is a little bit of rocket science in how it's built and how well it performs. So we've actually been using the Clear2o water filtration system in our RV for about a month now, closing in on 2 months, and we absolutely love it. So if you have any questions about the Clear2o products we showed you here today, just leave us a note in the comments below and we'll get you an answer. If you are a user of the Clear2o products, we'd love to hear your story as well. Leave us a note in the comments below as well and let us know your experiences with Clear2o. Now we're looking forward to some of the places we've visited in the past that had really bad water with a lot of sediment in it. We're looking forward to going back there with the Clear2o system just to see how well it's going to work, because I'm pretty confident that this DIRTGUARD is going to make the filter last a lot longer and give us good clean drinking water the entire time. So thank you guys so much for watching, and we hope that your journeys will always be epic ones. Thanks for watching.